Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of the Lux and Leveraged podcast. Your host here, Michelle Hext. Welcome to my new listeners. Welcome back to my subscribers. Guys, I am monetized. It happened last week and I'm excited. And I guess the only thing that makes me feel a little bit downside-ish around the whole thing is that there will be ad breaks now in the episodes, which I wanted to avoid. But we have to look at the big picture here, right? And the big picture for me is monetization and pushing forward and growing this podcast just means that my message gets out there to so many more people. And monetization is the vehicle for that, because when you've got people working for you very hard to promote the podcast and make sure that it gets in the ears of millions of listeners every month, then they need to be rewarded. And the way that they get to be rewarded is through a percentage share of my streaming revenue. And it creates jobs for them and it creates a massive win for me. And I hope you will be able to live with the ads and just fast forward them if you need to. I don't know that I'm supposed to say that. Am I supposed to say that? Probably not. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. All right. So the other thing that I should say as well is that my paid subscribers, so if you're a paid subscriber of this podcast, there will never be any ads on the paid stuff. And the paid subscription it's like the cost of a couple of cups of coffee a month. And that's where I'm going to be going behind the scenes and sharing a lot more, I guess, behind the scenes stuff, but also running some masterclasses and things like that. I want to make that a place where you get to come and learn a little bit more, go a little bit deeper on what I'm talking about, stuff I'm not willing to share with millions, but I'm happy to share with my subscribers. And also, I guess, as I say, provide some stuff that you can't get here. And that will be in the form of pep talks and masterclasses and strategy and things like that. So anyway, if you are not a paid subscriber, now is the day to get on it, because I would love you to be one of my paid subscribers. I'm excited to build that community as well as this general podcast. All right. Today I want to talk to you about a subject that has been, I guess, a bit of a sore spot for me for the last few years. And that is that this whole influencer culture around the coaching and education industry, right? And people that are good at social media, but not necessarily good at what they do. Like, that's the biggest bugbear of me. They win because they're good at social media, have zero experience in coaching and mentoring and producing outcomes. But because they are good at social media, they make the sales, and often those sales are one-off sales because people get in there and they realize that they're full of shit and they don't actually know a whole lot and that it's just made up bullshit, honestly. Like, really, what are we coming to? Anyway, so that's kind of one of my little bugbears. And the other bugbear is that there are coaches out there who want to play in the high ticket space and they want the lifestyle that it produces, right? They want the business class flights or the first class flights. They want the fancy hotels. They want the handbags. They want the lifestyle that coaching and mentoring and education products can provide, right? And it can provide an incredible lifestyle, and it's available to anyone, everyone. If you have, I'm not going to jump ahead, but that lifestyle is available to anybody who is willing to, and this is the important part, produce outcomes that make people happy. So a lot of people want the lifestyle, but they're not prepared to produce the outcomes that are required to keep generating repeat business, returning clients, people that rave about them because the results are so big and epic. And sometimes it's not, I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? And I know that not everybody goes out there making massive promises with the expectation that they won't deliver, right? I'm sure, and this is the optimist in me, I'm sure that there are people out there who think they can deliver, but then they get in the thick of it and they can't. And that becomes very uncomfortable for everybody involved, right? So there's that. And for those people, because I'm not interested in talking to the people who are so full of shit, who are just happy to say, hey, I'll make you $1 million this year. And they have no plans to back up that big promise because they just don't give a shit. And there are too many of those people on the internet to count. There are way too many of those people, and it hurts my heart because I don't like to believe that people are like that. But they are, unfortunately, all right? But not us. We are not those people. And so I want you to make sure that you can deliver on your promise. I want you to have the lifestyle, but I want you to have the lifestyle that's built upon a rock solid foundation and not some flaky thing that's going to fall over because the algorithm shifted. I want you to have something that you feel proud of, something that is legacy worthy, something that is built around your wisdom and excellence and mastery and all of the things that make you brilliant. And I also want you to make it easy for yourself to do that. So how do we do that? Well, we simplify, because when we simplify things, we make them easy, right? So I want you to look at your highest ticket offer right now. And I want you, hand on your heart, to ask yourself and answer the question, hand on heart, if somebody were to pay me $50,000 or $100,000 for this offer right now, can I deliver the promise that I'm making? Can I do it with one hand tied behind my back? Will this be effortless work for me? And if the answer is yes, you are in your sweet spot and there should be nothing stopping you, right? You might have a marketing strategy that needs some tweaking. You might have a few, little bits and pieces that need tweaking. Small things are going to make a massive difference to you. But if you are sitting on that side of the fence where it's like, I think so, then you are making life hard for yourself, because you're going to have this duality, you're going to have this push-pull energy around moving forward and selling that offer, because part of you is going to be scared that you won't be able to deliver, and you don't want those consequences, right? And that's because we care. That's because we're the type of people who actually take responsibility. When people invest in us, it's important for us to deliver, right? So if you've got any part of you that is going, I just don't know, then you're making it hard for yourself, and you've got to simplify things. You've got to streamline things a little bit more so that you do get that hand on heart, absolutely yes. So say you have your hand on your heart and you're like, yes, absolutely, I believe I can create outcomes for my people. So what if you really believe in that, but you've had some situations where you didn't deliver the outcomes and you felt a bit shitty? I want you to think about, okay, so who are the people? Who are the clients? Were they the right fit? Or did you say yes to people that weren't necessarily the right fit because you wanted the sale? And you knew you could make it work, but you also kind of knew in the back of your mind, I'm going to have to work a little harder for this one. Again, you're making your life too difficult. You're making your life harder than it needs to be. This should be a frictionless experience. If you're experiencing friction in the sales of your offers, then that should be telling you something. So I'm not saying throw it all out, burn it all to the ground. I'm just saying have a look at the offer, run your eye over it with a fine-tooth comb, do a bit of an audit and just say which parts of this sales page, for example, if you have a sales page, which part of this sales page makes me feel so lit up and excited? Which parts of this sales page give me anxiety or make me question things or make me feel a bit shit? Because that's what you've got to work on. You've got to remove that stuff. Make it so that every single word on that page, every single portion of that offer is exciting to you. And you can't wait to go out there and start shouting it from the rooftops and selling it, because you just know that there's no resistance here. There's no friction. Let me at it. Like, bring me the clients. The more, the better. The more they pay me, the better. I can handle it because I know I can deliver an outcome. That's where you want to be sitting. And so if you want that lifestyle and you don't have it yet, the thing that I learned all of those years ago was that when I started delivering big outcomes, when I started to deliver on my promise and then some, that's when my business really took off. It wasn't because my marketing was smarter or more clever or I figured out the algorithm. It was based on results. And I felt so calm and excited to sell my offers because the results were there. And I didn't have that level of uncertainty around, if I sell this, can I get a result? Prior to that, I'm talking about this because I've lived it, right? One of the things, and was producing pretty good outcomes, but not as consistently as when I made that my main focus. And I also was charging lower prices back then just to cover my ass. It's like, well, if I don't get a result, I want to make sure that, just bullshit like that. Those thoughts just don't even enter the equation anymore. It's just not even a thing. But I do remember a time when I was looking at the other online entrepreneurs around me and they were all flying business class and they had the handbags and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I want that too. And then unfortunately, I think this is why it got hold, because I did some programs of those coaches and they were pretty fucking average. Like, they were pretty average. There was not really a lot going on there that was giving me any way to produce a result, and they were still successful. And I think for me, I kind of linked up those two things and it felt uncomfortable for me because I didn't want that. I didn't want, sure, I'll have 1,000 people go through my programs, and if, like, I don't know, 50 of them get good results, that's enough for me. Like, I can't live like that. That's not how I want to live my life. And I'm sure you don't either, because our business is a large part of our life. Like, let's be honest, it's a large part of our life. We want to enjoy it. We want it to feel good. We want it to make us feel good. We don't want it to feel like we are uncomfortable in it. So you've got to really love it. And you've got to really feel lit up every single day by it. And you've got to be excited and inspired by it. And you can't have those feelings when you're anxious, when you're worried, when you feel like you've overcooked the pudding and you don't know that you can deliver a result. So what I would recommend is scale it back so that you can deliver a result and make it easy. A lot of the time, you're thinking that you need to make things bigger and fancier and have more moving parts and to make it more impressive because that's what's going to sell people, when the reality is outcomes, delivering outcomes sell. That's what builds reputations. And so if you make it more complicated but you can't deliver, that's not ideal. But if you make it simple and you deliver and then some, that's the path you want to take. It doesn't need to be fancier than it is, right? If you look at my PODCAST Millionaire program, it couldn't be any simpler. It really couldn't be any simpler. It's work with me for 4 weeks. Let me make sure your business is built to withstand the traffic that's going to come through from the podcast. Let's make sure that we're set up so that it will scale without breaking. Let me help you see around corners that you can't see around because I've been there. And then I hand you over to my promo team. That's it. They monetize you and then they keep promoting you for as long as you want them on your team. It won't cost you anything. They'll build your audience to an audience of millions. So making money is effortless and it won't cost you anything other than a portion of your streaming revenue. It's very, very simple. Very simple. And so I love it. I love it. There's nowhere to hide with a program like that, right? And it's like, it is what it is. And that's what I want for you too, to feel so at ease around what you're selling, so lit up. for it to feel like, as I say, you can't wait to get out there and start selling it and working with clients, and you can handle the responsibility of the big paycheck because you just know you can deliver on promise. And if you can't, then now's the time to do that work, because continuing to do what you're doing now with what I would call a faulty product is just going to create more stress, and it's going to keep you stuck where you're at. So it's time to shake the tree, let whatever needs to fall off, know that the foundations are strong, we are rock solid now we go again. And I am always here. So you can hit me up on Instagram, you can DM me over there. And if you are on TikTok, your girl has just decided to go on TikTok as of today. I've been on and off there, and it's like, it just doesn't feel like my place. But then as I've been sitting with the Podcast Millionaire, it's like, oh, the Podcast Millionaire is like ripe for TikTok. And so my whole TikTok is now branded around the Podcast Millionaire. So if you want to follow along on that journey, if you want to go and see what's happening over there, you can do that. I'm going to drop my TikTok in the show notes as well, so you can head on over there. And I'm excited to get over there. But my strategy for TikTok is this, right? I'm not going to follow anyone. I'm not going to be engaging with anyone. I'm not going to be doing any of that stuff. All I'm there to do is drop bombs about the Podcast Millionaire and how impactful this program is, and also be talking about stuff like, knowing that all the stuff we spoke about here, right? That just because people are good at social media means they're making money, even though they're shit at what they do. It's like, we don't want to compete with the amateurs. We want to put ourselves in a different league altogether. And so that's kind of the vibe of of my TikTok. So you can head on over there and have a good old gander. There's only one video up today, but I'm planning to get in there, maybe 3 times a week. It's not something, I don't want to be a slave to it. It's an experiment. I just want to see how it goes over there for this particular product, because I think it's like, mwah. And this is something that I want to share with you as well, to take note. Just remember that things like that are free, right? You can set up a TikTok or an Instagram or whatever, right? You can go over there and you can set up any, sorry, just saw a notification come through. You can set yourself up on any platform. You can position yourself so powerfully. It is insane. And you can start showing up there, dropping bombs and making a noise over there. And who knows if it's going to work or not, right? Who knows if that's where you want to be or not? But it doesn't cost you anything other than your time. And so I've started early, but for this month and next month and maybe December, I'm conducting some experiments. I'm on a couple of different apps. There's a business app. I'm even just dropping my insta content on LinkedIn. Now, I'm going to create the exact same content for multiple platforms, because when I go into 2026, I want to know where I want to be. And it's not because I need the business, right? The podcast does that for me now. Next year, it'll like wild where it's going. So it's not that I need the business, but I'm here to lead. I'm here to show up and have a level of influence over people. It's my duty to do that. I've been doing this for such a long time. I am an expert in my field, and I want people hearing my voice because I give a shit and because I know how to make things work, right? Listen to me over somebody who has been around for 2 minutes, who's hacked the algorithm, right? And so I'm not going over there to compete with people like that. I'm not going over there to dominate freaking TikTok or whatever it is. It's like, I'm conducting an experiment. Is this worth my time or not? Does this feel like a good use of my time? Because I got time, guys. I'm not busy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've created a life where I have a lot of free time. And I want to use it in a creative outlet. And so we're going to do that. I'm meeting with somebody this morning about my YouTube channel. I feel like I'm kind of getting ready to come back into that. I'm going to start thinking about that for 2026. And, there are a lot of things that I have in place right now, and I'm very excited about all of the things that are falling into place. And yeah, between now and the end of the year, conducting an experiment. Where do I want to be? Is this worth my time? Does this feel good? Is this having the level of impact that I want it to have? If so, I will keep it. If not, I'm going to kill it dead by the time we tick over into 2026. So my point there is we have so many resources at our fingertips that do not cost us any money, but they cost us time, right? And back when I first started my business, there was no internet, there was no TikTok, there was no Instagram. Facebook and Twitter kind of started around the early days, but it wasn't like it is now. It wasn't a full-blown business like it is now. And so use the tools. Use the tools that are available. If you can't afford to invest in the podcast Millionaire with me or my inner circle, if that's just beyond you and you are looking for a strategy, pick one and be smart about it. Know that it's not going to cost you any money and don't half-ass it. I was not going to go back on TikTok until I really decided what I wanted it to be about. And it's so interesting. I went in over the weekend and I deleted every single post on on TikTok. And I looked at it and it's like, what the fuck was I thinking? I was like, it was horrible. I was like, whoa, I can't believe I was playing in that swamp. And so go in there with intentionality. So I have a very strong intention. I have a very clear strategy going in there. I'm completely detached. Don't give a shit whether it works or not, but I'm willing to see, right? So if you've got the time, what's a platform that maybe you aren't in right now or on? And develop your strategy. Get really clear about, and you know how I work, right? Start from the top up. How are you positioning yourself? And then start there, right? And think about, how do I get to make an entrance on this platform? How do I get to make a big fucking entrance on this platform and then maintain that energy every time I post? Because if you're sitting there and you are struggling financially and you don't have the resources to invest, you got time. You've got time. And that time is better invested in something that is going to make you feel like you're moving the needle, because moving the needle is going to make you feel like you're moving closer to your vision. When you're sitting there with inaction and you're freaking out about, I can't do this and I can't do that and I don't have the money for that, blah, 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 and we're all going to die. Like, it's a shitty place to be. But you're like, hey, you know what? This platform has been on my periphery. I think it's go time. And don't just get on there and randomly post something. Think about it. Really think about it, because you only get to make that entrance one time, and then throw yourself into it and maybe do what I'm doing, play with a few different ones and see what happens. But give it your all, because if you don't have financial resources, all you have is you. And there are plenty of people out there who have built businesses just with them and a free platform. You can do that. You just have to work a little harder, right? But that's okay. You won't have to do it forever. All right. That's all I've got to say about that. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you next week. Mwah.